Tomorrow marks 49 years since the Supreme Court of the United States issued that landmark ruling in Roe versus Wade. And though it's been nearly half a century since abortion was recognized and established as a right under our Constitution, in 2021, the U.S. saw the highest number of abortion restrictions ever passed into law in a single year. Several states have enacted those so-called heartbeat bills, which ban abortions once a fetal heartbeat is detected. That's at roughly 6 weeks. And, of course, there is that case out of Mississippi, which the Supreme Court has taken up, which bans abortion after 15 weeks of pregnancy, and the Supreme Court is looking at that right now. So for more on the future of Roe versus Wade, let's bring in the president of Planned Parenthood, Alexis McGill Johnson. Thanks for being with us again. Good to see you on this important anniversary and this important moment. Roe versus Wade threatened now. So what do you think? We all heard the arguments in that Mississippi case. It certainly looks like the conservatives are ready to do it. What would a post-Roe versus Wade world look like, and what can Planned Parenthood do in such a world?
Well, thank you, Terry, for having me on. I mean, look, the post-Roe world, we're already living in Texas right now. If past is prologue, right? If current is prologue, the devastation has been real. For nearly 50 years, Roe v. Wade has protected the right to access safe and legal abortion. And, what we heard in that court was not only a deep desire perhaps to let the Mississippi 15-week ban stand, which would in itself unravel Roe and probably many other rights along with it, but a deep desire to overturn Roe. And that means that there are 26 states that are poised to further enact restrictions, whether through the trigger laws that are already on the books or the movement that they have in hostile state legislatures. And the real impact is going to be on the people living in those states, the 36 million people who are, disadvantaged by income, marginalized by race and gender identity. Those are the people who are going to be bearing the brunt of policies that we see these states potentially enacting.
And it's states, it's really regions. You look at the states that have those trigger laws, it runs from the Carolinas, all the way to Oklahoma and Texas, a whole region of the country where abortion seems likely to be criminalized or very severely restricted in a post-Roe world. What would that mean for Planned Parenthood? I mean, would your mission change?
Look, our mission is the same as it's always been, and when we were founded 5 or 6 years ago, right? It is to continue to fight for the freedom to make decisions about our own bodies, for self-determination, because we believe that is the undergirds all of the rights that we enjoy now. So we will continue to push back and ensure that we are fighting. But this isn't about Planned Parenthood. This is about the people who are living in those states, living in states where there is no support for actually these bans. The majority of these states, as you say, in the South and in the Midwest, across the country, support access to safe and legal abortion, and yet their state legislatures, their lawmakers in those state houses, a vocal minority are holding them hostage to these bad laws, and that's really what we are going to continue to fight about, to make sure that we are, continuing to provide the family planning work that we do, to continue to be there as a resource in the community, and to make sure that we are standing with our patients, fighting back in every way.
And polls are showing that an overwhelming majority of the American people, 60, 70%, depending on the polls, don't want to see Roe versus Wade overturned. I mean, in this 50-50 country, you can't get you can't get 70% of Americans to agree it's Friday. Much less, should Roe versus Wade be upheld. But that is the public opinion. And in those states in our divided country where abortion care will remain legal, how will those states be impacted when so much else of the country could be, women could be without access to this?
Well, we will see surges in the states where there is provision, right? I mean, and it will impact the residents in those states. This is not just about what's happening in the South and the Midwest. It's actually, and I say it, we are seeing it right now in Texas. The patients who are leaving Texas to go to New Mexico and Oklahoma are displacing those patients who are also now having to travel to Arizona and California. So, what we are calling on the states where we've already codified Roe, where there's an opportunity to push or expand legislation, is to do just that, is to demonstrate the imagination of where we should be around sexual and reproductive health care in this country 50 years post this landmark decision, to ensure that we can demonstrate what it actually means and looks like for people to have full control over their bodies and a determination of whether or not they will become pregnant. And I think what we are seeing in a state like Texas is many people are faced with forced pregnancy in a way that may be harmful to their health, to their family, and their community.
Forced pregnancy, that's a concept that at least has been unfamiliar to me in America most of my life, but it seems like it's one that could be very real. Let me ask you, we're accustomed to thinking about abortion rights as something that is discussed and debated and decided in courts, or is going to be discussed and debated and decided in states. But there could be a role for Congress, right? What would that look like, and what hopes would you have of Congress, which can't do much of anything, getting something done to guarantee access to abortion care?
Yes, absolutely. Look, there is an act on the that is currently being considered, the Women's Health Protection Act legislation that would help codify Roe and certainly limit the kinds of restrictions that that many of these states are putting into place. We hope the Senate will take up in short order. It has already passed the House, and it has the support of the administration, as well as obviously the reproductive rights, health, and justice community. And we're continuing to push Congress to do everything they can. Federal legislation is what we need at this point to protect a constitutional right.
You know, the March for Washington is taking place, over the weekend. That's the anti-abortion rights, quote, pro-life gathering that's been going on all these years. Do you think in a post-Roe world, given the numbers that people, the majority of people don't want to see a Roe versus Wade overturned or abortion criminalized altogether, do you think there'll be more room for conversation between some of those people in the pro-life anti-abortion rights march and the pro-choice, pro-abortion rights side? Do you think that we might actually be forced to talk to each other across this divide again in a post-Roe world?
Look, I think we are already in conversation, but I think the thing you have to understand here, Terry, is that, as you said, the majority of Americans believe that abortion should be safe and legal, and that lawmakers should not be involved in making these decisions, right? That I think we can have a healthy conversation, but we shouldn't pretend that this is a false equivalence, right? We shouldn't pretend that there's, an equal side versus the other side. There's no both sides. There is a mainstream position that these decisions should be made by the people who are making the decisions, not and whoever they want to bring into the conversation, not by lawmakers. And that is the fundamental difference that we are working with right now.
And we'll see where that goes when the Supreme Court decides that case out of Mississippi. Planned Parenthood President Alexis McGill Johnson on this anniversary of Roe versus Wade. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.